A pleasant afternoon to you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the Chai Academy. This is, I think, class 44 on Judaism's ethics and beliefs. Each class is self-contained. If you wish to see previous classes and courses, you may go to thechaicenter.com/academy. So yesterday's class, which is kind of, it's related, but it's a whole different, it's two separate subjects. Yesterday's class was on death, Judaism's idea of death, Judaism's understanding of death. And I think it's a pretty fascinating, out-of-the-box type of thinking. And good afternoon, Eileen. And I think if you haven't seen it, you should, because I know when I study this stuff, it was a game changer for me. It made me address death and contemplate death and understand death in somewhat of a different manner. Today's class we finished off yesterday's class, is asking, does Judaism believe in heaven? Does it believe in hell? Does it believe in eternal damnation? What exactly is where do we stand? Where do we stand in terms of the reward and punishment of the individual, whether their energy, etc., once a person passes? So, as you know, many religions are obsessed with this. Obsessed. You get this and you get that, and this reward and that reward, and Judaism is not obsessed with it. There is something called heaven and hell, very different than what you're thinking. But we're just not obsessed. We don't, we live. And this is the world of action, the world of growth. So we're completely not obsessed. We don't think about it. We think about here and now, our connection to the cosmic energy now, our doing good now, our mitzvahs now, our charity now, our assistance to people less fortunate than us now. We don't think this is why we're doing it, because there's concept of heaven. We just don't. Our job is to love God and be in awe of God, not to fear Him. That's the ultimate. So Judaism, as opposed to hell, we don't call it hell, we call it purgatory. Now, purgatory is a hell is very different. Hell is a punishment. Purgatory is a cleansing. Let me give you an example. So, I'm a human being, right? I'm a human being, and I take my daily showers. If it's summer, twice a day, right? And I change my socks, my undergarments, etc. I change them because I'm a human being, and I want to put on fresh clothes, right? No more needs to be said. And I take these socks, and I take this undergarments, and I take whatever. Most of the other stuff I dry clean, but neither here nor there. So, and I put them in a washing machine, and I turn it to hot or warm, and then I pour in chemicals, nasty chemicals. You can't drink those chemicals. Those Tide Pods, can't eat them, even though people do. And then I put that, and this thing starts spinning. I mean, this machine starts spinning, and it's rocking to and fro. It's like Hakafas and Simchas Torah. It's just spinning and spinning and spinning, and then it's done. I take out these clothes, these clothes, and I place them in a dryer with incredible heat, and I burn them. Right? So, if socks could talk, they would tell me, "What are you doing? I was there for you. I covered your feet, and I made your feet comfortable when they go into shoes, and then you put chemicals, you scorch me with hot water, scald me with hot water, you place chemicals, unthinkable chemicals on me, and then you make me spin for a half hour, and then you give me hot heat. Why are you doing this to me?" So of course, this is all rhetorical. It's not really a question. Socks don't talk. But why am I doing this? I'm not doing it because my socks bother me and I'm angry at my socks. I'm not doing it because I need to get my anger out on my clothing. I do it because they need to be cleaned. They have an odor, and they need to be cleaned. Right? And in the summer, they'll be cleaned more often than in the winter, because I'll go through more pairs. So it's not a revenge tactic. And the same is true with the soul. The same is true with parenting. So there's not one parent in this world. I'm sorry. Most parents, most mothers who are sane, and most fathers who are not alcoholics, right? If their child acts out, they won't. The concept of revenge doesn't enter their mind, right? They when a parent we come home from Starbucks with our latte, and we've just taken a great, we had yoga and other stretch exercises, etc. And then we come home to a screaming kid, and the kid spilt grape juice all over the carpet, and the carpet's white, right? We don't punish our kid. We don't take revenge on our kid. We're not upset. We're not happy. We're upset, etc. But as parents, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. What do? We make them understand this was wrong. We may make them clean up the mess if they're of a certain age, and then we move on. But we don't say, okay, now you are going to get such a whack, or you're going to get punished. That's not, maybe in the olden days, by the way, they did do it. It's not proper parenting now. I would be the first one to tell you that I love my kids, and I don't let things get in the way of love, even God. Nothing gets in the way between me and my children, right? And I don't take revenge on them. I try and teach them, make things a teachable moment. I don't let any crisis. I get an opportunity from every crisis when it comes from my kids, right? So the same idea. God is a parent too. He's not looking to punish. He's not looking to punish. God is looking to essentially cleanse. Right? So as a parent, you would tell the child, explain to the child that this is wrong, or this wasn't cool, and then in the future, this is what has to be done. And by the way, if it's not a catastrophe, maybe let it go. But we don't punish. God doesn't punish either, right? A husband and wife, they battle, right? And they go to therapy, and they talk it out. And somebody starts crying, either the husband or the wife. They start crying, and they relive their trauma, and they work it out, and they deal with it. And so by going to therapy, you're not punishing anybody. Yes, somebody's in deep emotional pain when you go to therapy, and perhaps the therapist really opens up this wound, tears off the scabs, and makes you relive what happened either from your childhood, or within your marriage, or whatever, your boss, your colleague, and you relive it, right? And it's painful, but would you call it punishment? I wouldn't. I would not, absolutely would not consider it a punishment, but rather you're working through it. And it's, yes, and sometimes it may be extremely difficult, but it's not punishment. The therapist is not a cruel, Nazi-esque type of person that's really hurting you. Purgatory is what I've heard the phrase called cosmic therapy. That you go for therapy. God puts you in therapy. And in therapy, you see your faults. You see the error of your ways. You see how you hurt your spouse, your child, your parent, your boss, your colleague, someone on the bus, someone in your carpool, someone at Starbucks. Pilates, that's the name I was looking for. That you come home from Pilates, right? And your nutritionist and your yoga instructor. You may hurt him. The cleaning service in your house. You may have been rude. So the cosmic therapy makes you deal with all this, right? It's purgatory. It's not punishment. Now, there's a phenomenal verse from King David that basically says that God is a vengeful God. I think it's Psalm 94. God is a vengeful God. God appears. So, what does it mean God's a vengeful God? God appears. So what King David was trying to explain is as follows. That Kale, the God of kindness, by the way, the God of love, because each name of God denotes a different characteristic. So the Tetragrammaton is the God of compassion. Elohim is the God of discipline. Kale is God of love. The God of love is vengeful. So once you say that it's a God of love that's vengeful, you realize that it's not a revenge out of anger, it's not a revenge out of temper, it's not a revenge out of disappointment, but rather it's out of love, which is what a parent does when you teach and educate your child and you correct your child, is out of love. So God is a loving God, and the Kamas is vengeful. How is God vengeful? By Hafia, by appearing. Right? Makes you, the best way to get revenge on somebody is to be nice to them, is to be kind to them. So someone really hurts you, right? You're somebody really. So instead of saying you this and you this and you that, and use every Yiddish, English, and French expression under the sun, instead you smile. And you say, I'm not stooping to your level. That is actually a kind of revenge. So the revenge that God does is He appears. God is in your face. And this is what purgatory looks like. There's no Satan with a fork of fire, right? There's no angel with caviar waiting for you to come in, right? There's no Dante's Inferno. There is no person. There's no angel there with a whip. There's no angel there with yellowfin tuna for your sushi. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. The purgatory, as is explained in the book of Zohar. And remember, the Torah doesn't even talk about it. The Torah doesn't want you to focus on it and obsess over it and miss your opportunity to do good. But the Zohar does. It's alluded to in the Torah, it's alluded to in the prophets, but the Zohar does. And Tanya, the book that explains Zohar, does mention it. Purgatory. What is purgatory? So, purgatory is essentially you are given two views of your life. One is sort of what you did in your life. Your 100 years. This is what you did. This is what you accomplished. These were the good traits. These were the bad traits. This is what held you back. This is what propelled you forward. And you see your life. You know, I grew up in England. In England, there was something called Your Life. And what it was, they took a celebrity or they took a person, and they had no idea, but they produced a whole dossier of this person's life and their previous friends, and they brought them on stage. And they said, okay, you know, and the spouse was in it, and the kids were in it, and the parents were in it, and this one was in it, and a friend that you haven't seen in 40 years was in it. And they spoke about your previous jobs. So they basically did an internet search. Back then there was no internet, and it's called Your Life. And they took a celebrity, etc. So that's what they do. They show you your life, your ups and your downs. And as explained in Tanya, they show you another screen, and I don't know if it's a screen, and I don't know if it's a green screen, and I don't know if it's a whiteboard. I have no idea. But they show you another version of your life. And this is the life of what God was hoping you would live. What your potential was. What the potential could have been. And now they place them side to side. This is what you did on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. Right? And this is what God had hoped for you by the time March 2nd, 2022 came around. And you see it. This is the amount of knowledge you were supposed to acquire, and this was the knowledge you actually did acquire. This was the amount of good deeds that you were supposed to do this month, this year, this day. This is what you did. This is the charity. After such a successful deal, you're supposed to have given. When you bought Bitcoin at 15,000, and this is the charity you actually gave. This is when you were asked for help, your response, and this is the hope of God that you should have given your response, etc. So it's called Kaf HaKela. That's the Kabbalistic name for it. I believe the English name is called the hollow of the sling. Essentially, you are slung back and forth. This is you. This is what God expected of you. This is what you did. This is what you should have done. This is who you are today. This is who you could have become. And you watch these two lives appearing before you. Kel Nakame Sophia. God appeared before you. And it shows that it was so simple for you to have, it was really simple to overcome this addiction. And addictions are not simple, so maybe I'm wrong here. It was so simple to overcome this particular challenge, and you didn't overcome it. Or it was so simple for you to help this person change their flat, or this woman who came to you because of domestic abuse, to give her a number of a shelter. Instead, you said, "I don't know what to do. This is above my pay grade." When a little bit more thought, you could have helped this woman. Right? Somebody recently came into this office and said they got evicted and they need help. They're homeless. So I put them in touch with Suffolk County, with Dash and other organizations in Suffolk County. But the bottom line is the wheels of bureaucracy don't go as fast. So then I also gave them, not me, it's your money, it's the Chai Center's money, also gave them 2 nights in a hotel. And after 2 nights, let's see where things, and they got a place. They got a place to live. It may have not been their best place, but I could easily have said, I'm sorry, I have no idea. Go to the precinct, right? But because I've explored this before, I kind of now know somewhat, no expert on it by any stretch. And it just takes a moment of thought. And you either had it or you didn't have it. Here's the rub. When a person looks at these 2 screens and they're looking at the screen dated March 2nd, 2022, and at that very moment they're either in paradise, very proud of themselves, happy at what they did, and they feel that they're in heaven or they're in hell. Meaning, oh my goodness, I'm so ashamed. I could have helped this person. I could have given this charity. I could have made a call. I could have driven them to the train station instead of them missing the train and therefore missing their appointment with the doctor. So you decide. Are you in heaven? Are you in hell? Did I live up to my expectations? Yes, I'm in heaven. Did I live up to God's expectations? Yes, I'm in heaven. Did I completely mess it up? I'm in hell. And I feel badly. And that is purgatory. That is the exact moment of purgatory. I feel I could have done better. I'm sorry. That's purgatory. So it's no pitchforks. It's no roasted over coals until you become ash, right? And neither is it a 18-year Scotch, God forbid, of not mixed blends, but of single origin. That's not heaven. Even though if you do have a 30-year Scotch single blend, I wouldn't mind a taste if you have a moment. So, Preston asks a great question. So, by showing remorse, right? By showing remorse is how you clear it up. By asking yourself, when you're you can do teshuvah. The transformation is very easy in this world. You're challenged with exactly the same challenge. Someone asks you to go to the train station and you go ding, 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 ding. I didn't do it last time and I felt badly. This time I'm going to do it. Teshuvah. When you're stripped of a physical body and you have remorse, wow, I'm such an idiot, right? I should have. Given the chance again, I would. That is teshuvah in the next world. And you may be tested and come back into the next world. We spoke about this yesterday. Something called reincarnation. You may come back and you will be tested because you didn't cross that T and dot that I. So it's not a hindsight, Lenny. It's not hindsight. It's proving a point. And you can either be in heaven constantly, or you can be in purgatory at times. However, the scene, the curtain, does end. And purgatory does end. The maximum purgatory of you witnessing your mistakes and your flaws and your missed goals and expectations from God ends after 12 months. Earthly 12 months. In heaven, it may be much sooner. I don't know. Heaven is above time. Time is a creation. But we do know we mourn for 12 months, and we say Kaddish for 11 months. The Kaddish is to uplift the soul and get it out of its purgatory. You know why? Because your child is saying, we love God. Nobody's perfect, but we believe in you, God. And therefore, embrace my loved one. That's why we say Kaddish, to elevate the soul. We say Kaddish to recognize that God is in charge, and to err is human. And God, no, we're not angry at you. We believe in you. And that's an incredible elevation for the soul. But we only say Kaddish for 11 months. Because if we said Kaddish for 12 months, it means that the loved one got the max. So we're optimistic. We say Kaddish for 11 months, and then our loved one did not get the max. So it is Kaddish is, we're actually tipping our hat to God, and we're saying, God, we love you. Extolled and hallowed is your name. May your name be broad all over. And we trust in you, dear God. And at exactly the same time, the soul is saying, if I had a chance, I would do it again. I would do different. I wouldn't do it again. And at the same time, the kids, or anybody for that matter, who you've had influence over, does a mitzvah. Essentially, within the first year, and this is why I always say the first year is so important. Essentially, in the first year, they're saying, Dad, Mom, Uncle Tim. Notice I didn't say Uncle Tom. Uncle Tim, Aunt Sandra. Everybody has an Aunt Betty. Many people have an Aunt Gladys. This bud's for you. You taught us right. And we're doing this mitzvah in your honor. Which this mitzvah that we're doing, this positive action, is now negating a negative action that you did. And it has been cleared and clarified. And the balance of this particular faux pas is now cleansed. And you never have to revisit it. And after a certain amount of time, you only live in heaven. And you're only basking in the glory of the divine presence without somebody throwing something negative in your face. How incredible is that? How beautiful is that? That it is, you can get beyond this. Now, it's up to God. This is only God's domain. Whether you have to come back for a short while, come back, don't come back at all. Go to heaven. Sometimes you don't even have to go to purgatory. God says, instead of purgatory, I'm sending you back. This is all as a favor. As a favor, that you don't have to suffer through purgatory. You don't have to see the evil of your ways. You don't have to, right? You get to see how special you are, essentially. That's all God's domain, and it's up to God, completely up to God. We do our best. Our children do our best. Our loved ones say the Kaddish. They do good deeds, etc., etc. And we forge ahead. Are there any questions? Now's a good time. If you enjoyed this class, please send it on, share it. This class should, I think is an eye-opener. I mean, it was an eye-opener to me when I finally got it. I read about Kafakela for so long, and I never realized what exactly. And it was explained to me, but I never got it. And then finally, when I got it, it was an eye-opener. I hope you enjoyed the class. I hope you can share it. And do a mitzvah today. Be an opportunist. If you have an opportunity to do something good, do it. Somebody asks you for charity, do it. Somebody asks you for a ride to the train station, do it. Somebody asks you for anything, whatever it is, by all means do it. The Baal Shem Tov, I'll leave you with this, which is a heavy thought. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, student of the Ari, Kabbalah, said as follows: that a soul may come down in a physical body and be in a physical body for fourscore and 10. Longer, for one reason: to do one person one favor. That is your mission. You blew it in the previous life, and that's all you came back for. To do one favor for one person. And that makes it all worth it. Don't blow it. That's the best advice I can give you. So the next time I call you for a donation for the Chai Center, a resounding yes. A resounding yes. With glee. For who knows? Maybe that's why our paths met. We do know that we, human race, is destined for greatness. What's happening now to the human race is antithetical of God. We're destined for greatness. Our greatness is that we respond to the call. So how would you know? When you're asked, say, "It would be my honor. It would be my pleasure." God bless. TheChaiCenter.com/academy. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on Anchor. Please share this and see other classes. There's 350 odd classes. Enjoy. Be well.